Hi guys, Bradley Sunderland here at Sunders Sounds. Very first video on this channel, first time to YouTube. I'm really excited about it. Basically, the reason I wanted to start this channel is because ever since I was a young kid, I've been listening to, rock music from all types of genres, going from sort of Black Sabbath, Deep Purple. I've been a massive music fan for a long time. Carlos Santana, Pink Floyd, all the way through to people like Kate Bush. And I think I've got a pretty wide sort of expanse of music for someone of 30 years of age. I'm now a father of 3 children, with my 4th one on the way in August, so lucky me, another girl. But very simply, I wanted to bring a channel to bring this music to younger people, and for people who may have heard maybe a couple of songs from these bands and not really gone much into it more, or their mum or dad have got a greatest hits album and they absolutely really enjoy that, but where do they go from there, inspired me to sort of almost start making a little series for you guys in regards to when I was growing up. What songs from these bands would I have wanted to listen to at that time? Sort of grow my knowledge and to grow myself about it. So what I've done is I'm going to start a little series for you guys in regards to, I'm going to go through sort of each band as we go along the weeks. I'm going to start off with a pretty big one, and to be honest with you, the choices were really hard because most of this band's songs from the era that I'm picking them from are classics from the start. Pretty much every single one of them is a classic. So I had to narrow it down. I thought, right, if I can narrow down into 10 songs, into sort of a playlist for you guys to go away to listen to, it should give you a really broad outlay of what this band is about. So today I'm going to start with Black Sabbath, and basically this is Black Sabbath for beginners. What do you start? What do you start listening to? Where do you start? These 10 songs I think are going to give you a really good idea wide across the spectrum of what this band is about, without sticking to the classic hits, such as I think Paranoid. I think everybody has heard of at this point in time, and no one ever needs to hear that again. So what I've tried to do is there's a mix of the classics, but there's also a few sort of deep cuts in here as well, sort of album tracks that you might not have heard of before, that are going to give us a really good sort of like rounded feel of what Black Sabbath is about. Now, whether you're sort of new to listening to Black Sabbath's music, you're new to sort of like listening to rock music at all, or you've been listening to this music for a long time like I have, comment below, tell me if you find the video helpful, and if you've been listening to this music a long time, tell me if you agree with the list, tell me if there's anything I should have put in there that I missed out. Predominantly, I want to make this absolutely clear from this point, I am an Ozzy era Black Sabbath fan. After Ozzy left, it kind of didn't feel the same for me when Dio stepped in. Nothing against Dio whatsoever at all. He was fantastic in Rainbow, fantastic on his own career, and Heaven and Hell, to be honest, is a great album by itself. But for me, it's just not Sabbath. Okay, so I'm going to start off with number 1, and we're going to kick off the playlist with the song Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath. Okay, by Black Sabbath. Now, the reason I've chosen this song is because it is probably one of the best openings to an album I've ever heard. And I remember going back to when I was 5 years old, and my dad used to drive me through dark country lanes in the middle of the night and play this song. It starts with the rain, thunder, church bells ringing, just a really desolate atmosphere. And then Tony Iommi on this guitar just kicks in with this really dense riff, and it's known as the Devil's Interval. It's actually like the diminished fifth, and I think this song, in its storytelling, in the sheer eeriness of it, really sets you up for what Black Sabbath is about and what is to come. Okay, and it was a great first song to the first album. It's a fantastic debut song, in my opinion, and I think they nailed it with that. From there, after that, I'm going to go into the Hand of Doom off of the Paranoid album. Now, It's a song about the dangers of drug abuse. Okay, it's got really sort of jazzy drumming in there from Bill Weld. It's just fantastic. Underneath, like at the very start, a very, very creepy riff. And then from that point, they continue that riff on, but Tony Iommi basically rips into mighty riff mode. And you just get it with both barrels throughout that whole central section of the song. And as it dips in and out of those really eerie sort of periods, there's a dun 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 dun. Very quiet, and it does it again, but it gives you it at 110%. So go from that from the Hand of Doom. After the Hand of Doom, into Under the Sun. Massively, really, really heavy track. Basically, welcome to Head Banging Central. If you don't end up, having a brain hemorrhage after after them in, head banging to this song, you're not doing it right. But basically, the song's about doing things your own way. But the lyrics are just really quite profound in some places. Really, really good, and I think it's executed in the way that Black Sabbath know best. Okay, from that point onto a song that probably Sabbath fans definitely would have heard time and time again, obviously, because they're such a big band with a wide fan base. But if you're new to it, A National Acrobat off of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album. Not only has it got like a really catchy riff, but Ozzy's singing in this song just tends to sort of bleed into your ears and has a really unsettling tone, and it works really well just over that heavy riff. It's when Ozzy started singing in much of a higher sort of frequency. It wasn't like in the earlier albums, you'll find his voice is fairly low where he was used to being, because Black Sabbath was originally called Earth and they were a blues-based band, so he was singing blues-based stuff. But in this, he starts to really sort of take hold of what Black Sabbath's about, and actually this is sounding a lot different now. The next song, I think this is song number, let me just double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, so this is song number 5, so halfway through. Now I thought I'd give you probably one of the greatest songs that Black Sabbath have written. Everybody's heard it time and time again. I picked War Pigs for this one, purely because it's not Iron Man, which is in Marvel films now and pretty much all over the place, to be fair, Iron Man. But War Pigs tends to be the sort of the underling of that and doesn't tend to get played that often. So I thought it was a really good one, but it's an absolutely epic song. One of Sabbath's greatest. As I say, you Sabbath fans out there have definitely heard it 500 times over, if not more. And I just remember, but for me, this is obviously for people who are new to it, but for me, remembering the first time I heard War Pigs and listened to about, generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses, it was really, really dark and really gothic, and I really enjoyed that song. It's very sort of, I know it's about obviously war and politicians sort of basically using people as cannon fodder, but underneath that, because the song War Pigs was originally called Walpurgis, which is a pagan festival, and had completely different lyrics. And if you've not heard that version, if you want to actually include it in the link below to a version of the alternative lyrics to War Pigs, but absolutely fantastic. From there, song number 6, Hole in the Sky off the Sabotage album. Again, Ozzy's vocals really stand out on this track for me. The tone he produces is just very haunting, and then obviously talking about Ozzy's haunting tone brings us nicely, should I say, into I think the 7th song I have on here, and that is Sabbath Bloody Sabbath off the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album. It is a Black Sabbath staple song. I think everybody's heard of it. Another classic song. I think on this, pretty much everyone's given it 110% on this one. Tony, Geezer, Bill, Ozzy, all putting in the effort in this one, I think. But if you're new to it, The lyrics are definitely it definitely gives you a good idea of what Sabbath are about and what they're going for, and it is just the most austere, macabre song of theirs, I think, lyrically and, you know, by the sound as well. The next one is sort of two songs, but I was listening to it as, you know, them together. But Embryo leading into Children of the Grave. Okay, Children of the Grave is an amazing Sabbath song. Everybody loves this song. I think it's just one of those ones that off of the Master of Reality album, of course. But I just don't know if anyone, you know, I don't know if anyone doesn't like Children of the Grave. But Embryo is like a small instrumental interlude. Tony's got this tone on the guitar. It almost feels like some sort of weird macabre waltz around a graveyard until the chugging starts, and you get into Children of the Grave, and you just find yourself throwing yourself about, whether you be in your car, bedroom, you know, on your headphones or whatever. The next ones it is two separate songs, but I am to finish off this playlist for you. Songs 9 and 10. They go hand in hand. If you listen to the album, they do sort of go into each other. But Behind the Wall of Sleep is next. A very dark spin on a very bluesy riff. Tony Iommi's solo on that track, absolutely incredible. And you can easily get lost in the double tracking that happens. You've got one solo happening up here, the other one happening there. And they're both happening at the same time. And they sort of go in like this. At times in your life, and you can easily get lost in it, but absolutely fantastic. It just bleeds in, bow, 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 and you go back into that again. It's fantastic. And then as that sort of dies out with this sort of billboard drumming, and then you go into NIB. Funny story about this name. Most Sabbath fans know it, but if you don't, NIB, basically it was originally called Nib, after Bill Ward's beard. Ozzy thought it looked like a pen nib, so they called the song Nib, and then someone had the idea of sticking two dots in between the N, the I and the B, and now it's sort of widely known as Nativity in Black. But yeah, it was originally called Nib after Bill Ward's beard. But the songs transition into each other, and it all starts off with Geezer Butler picking out this really funky bass line, bass solo underneath, and then it just sort of keeps going, and then into the riff, that boom, 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 and then Tony comes in with obviously the SG. And it's Tony and Geezer working together in harmony. They're playing exactly the same thing, which is what they did on most tracks. You know, even Geezer started. You know, Geezer Butler started playing bass on a guitar that had 4 strings, and he just tuned them down. It wasn't until the band actually started recording the album they actually managed to pick up a bass. But absolutely fantastic work, and it has such a big sound for just 4 guys making a debut album in one day. One day, in, record, out. They didn't know it was in the charts or big until they were on the way back from, I think, going on tour somewhere in Europe. But even the mellow parts of this song have still got a real foreboding quality, and it ends with, I think, probably one of Iommi's best solos. So there you go, quick rundown again of those songs. Black Sabbath, from Black Sabbath album, Hand of Doom from Paranoid, Under the Sun, and Every Day Comes and Goes off of Volume 4, the National Acrobat off of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, War Pigs off of Paranoid, and then Hole in the Sky from Sabotage, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Embryo / Children of the Grave, 2 songs but listen to it all as one, because it's a really good little interlude into it. Then Behind the Wall of Sleep and NIB to finish the playlist. So that's sort of what I feel as been a fan of Black Sabbath for many years. If I was speaking to someone who was new getting into the band, those are the 10 songs that I would probably pick for them to listen to give them a really good rounded feel of what that band is about. And then you can start diving into back catalogues and different albums and things like that. But I think there's sort of one there from nearly every album. There's a couple I missed out, like Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die, but for me they're not the strongest. But yeah, so that would be the playlist for you. What I'm going to try and do is set up actually another Spotify account for this YouTube channel. So you should be able to just click on there, follow me on there, and you should be able to get all of these. I'll try and compile these into a playlist for you guys, so you can just listen to the playlist from start to back. And see what you think about it. But yeah, I think that's going to give you a really good insight as to what Black Sabbath is. If you like the channel, if you like the video, found it informative, found it helpful, click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be informed of next time we bring up another band or do another video like this. Obviously, please leave a comment in the section below whether you found it was helpful, if you thought I missed anything out, if there's anything that you'd like to see, if there are any bands that you want to know what's going on, and you know, if you want me to give you a sort of a short playlist like that for a band that you've been thinking about getting into but don't know where to start. But yeah, thanks very much guys. Bradley Sunderland here at Sunders Sounds.